Hey, good morning. I'm Fort Worth Playboy, and this is a Fort Worth Playboy morning show, Wednesday morning, April 17th, 2024. I have to do that because all these things look alike on my computer. So I have to establish the date. So when I'm going through here and editing these things, just so you know, um, not that it matters, but I want to thank you for being here. And what do we do here? We focus in on the tactics in game, pickup, relationships, and sex that you can actually apply today and improve your life. We fall under the red pill, which is kind of an umbrella term that includes like MGTOW and the men's rights movement and a number of other things, that larger picture items that are important to men. And when you come to our, meaning mine and Bunny's timeline, we try to stay, she and I, and we made this decision naturally together years ago. When you come to our timeline, we want you to have those things that are, tactics, tips, methods, insights, things that you can apply that day if you're hoping to move a girl from complete stranger to in your bed in a systemized manner, all the way up to, like where Bunny can work with guys that have been in a marriage for 20 or 30 years and want to strengthen it or reignite it. So things that you can use, tactics, and we try to stay away from the gossip and the debates, and we leave that to guys that are better suited, better equipped, and are enthusiastic about those things. But she and I are enthusiastic about helping guys attain the girl or girls that they find attractive. And that's what's important to us. So just so you know why we're here, if you have any questions, you can go to YouTube, put it in the comment box. I'll be able to see it. I'll do my very best to answer it. We try to keep it on topic. We talk about game, pickup, relationships, women, sex. And Bunny, on Thursday mornings at 11 a.m., she's the sex expert. She's the best person to go to for this stuff, and also to give you some insight into how girls think, girl brain. And she's really good about filtering our world, into how girls perceive it and how we can apply it best with women. So we always start off with a maxim. Let me get it up and we'll get started. Maxim number 2, right off the bat. Again, Roy C has about 200 of these, and there's a couple repeats, and some we have like 3, 3A, 3B. So I believe there's only one maxim number 2. Women are turned on by displays of male power. Over time, in the last 20, 30, 40 years, I think there's been an effort for equality between the sexes, which, is all good and well. But at the end of the day, I think it's messed up. A lot of men think girls are basically just guys without dicks. And nothing could be further from the truth. They're almost a completely different species. And they are the polarity. Women are turned on by displays of male power. Anything masculine, male, that polarity, the exact opposite of what women are, which is smaller, weaker, more passive. You don't have to actually be in a powerlifting contest or in a fist fight, although these things help when you're talking about displays of male power. But anything that's the exact opposite of women like to see, it happened a few times during COVID that girls would say, they never really thought about this, but everybody's working from home and they hear their husband chewing somebody's ass out on the phone, which they had never seen before because he's always doing it at work, and at home he's like their husband. And the girl said, for some reason, I was turned on the rest of the day. There's something about that display of male power that polarity. And that's, I mean, there's no some reason. The reason being that it's the exact opposite of women who are like cooperative and passive, and things happen to them and things just happen. But for men, we have to make things happen. We're action takers. So any type of male power display, either physically, and I have one tweet out there like demonstrate, guys forget, compared to a woman, you're like Superman. I mean, ask a girl to punch you in the chest, and it literally feels like when you see the kittens like battering things with their little puff paws. That's what it feels like. They can hit you as hard as they possibly can, and you don't even feel it. It's absolutely insane. The differential in total body strength and your coordination and your eye-hand speed. And those things are kind of amazing. I mean, that's like I always say in one of my tweets, show a little bit of your power, pick her up, throw her on the bed. You can literally throw women. You can hold her, tell her to try to get away. They can't. I mean, sometimes I think it's surprising. They might like watch too many movies where, the girl is an ass kicker, but in reality, it's absolutely impossible for a woman physically to overpower a man without tools or without leverage. So that display of male power turns women on. And whether you do it, there's really three ways: physically, where you're physically dominating her, where you're leading her, you're telling her what to do. You're walking into the restaurant first, you check out the order, you put her between you and the server, and, you take the lead. And then there's demonstrations of power where you're projecting your power onto a third party. Like when you're, directing an accident, or when something bad happens and you're making decisions and making things happen and cleaning up a mess, even if you didn't make it, which is pretty much what guys do, is solve problems all day, every day. That's all we do, is solve people's problems. Those three methods of displaying your maleness is actually a turn on for women. And that's what we mean by women are turned on by displays of male power. And, like I say, the easiest and funnest is in the bedroom, where you pick them up, toss them, or, do the fake tackle. And I don't mean go full speed, but you can take 2 steps and kind of like punch into a girl and pick her up and throw her on the bed and land on top of her. And it's like, it's almost like grabbing a child. You can pick them up. So mess around with it, test it out. But that maxim number 2, and these are all not laws, but guidelines. Women are turned on by displays of male power. So let's see what Stan has to say. Stan, you're always good for a comment, man. I'll tell you that. I had a 20-kilogram dumbbell curling with it. The 5'2" girl could lift it up with her arms, with her whole body. It required her whole body. And that's normal. Yeah. I don't know whether you guys know, but, like I do fitness coaching, and I've been doing this for nearly 30 years now. And it wasn't till like 15 years ago. I'd already been doing this for like a good decade. And I've been in the gym for 4 years. But even it really dawned on me, because I had a brand new guy, and I had a girl that had been with me for a few years. And the guy was still as strong as her on his very first day. Then he hadn't been training ever, but he was still stronger than this girl who had 2 or 3 years under her belt. It's just such a huge disparity in strength. It will amaze you. And, just like I said, ask your girl to punch you in the chest or in the shoulder, and you literally can't even feel it. You're like, oh my God. He said that she couldn't lift it with her whole body. Exactly. It will shock you. Not so much that they're weak, but just the difference in strength levels physically. And like Bunny says, even like eye-hand coordination, which is why girls are always like hitting the curb with their car and doing stupid shit like that. They can't see, and they don't know where the corners of their car are. So let's see what else we got going on this morning. I wanted to go right into this is from yesterday. Maybe this is from yesterday. Yeah, this is from a couple of days ago, yesterday on the 16th. What's important, because something that gets confused a lot, that why negging a girl works so well. And again, everything has to be calibrated. Everything in game, that's a word that I've been looking for this word for like 2 or 3 days. Any type of asshole game, anything negative has to be calibrated. Get that word in your head and learn to adjust your game according to the girl that's in front of you. You have to calibrate your game and the intensity of it and the levels of it and the words you use and the amount of negativity and positivity you use according to the girl or your target that is in front of you at that moment. Negging works. Girls want to say it doesn't work. When a guy negs me, I'll walk off. They don't even recognize it because this stuff is all happening so fast. So why negging a girl works so well? Self-doubt is the default for women. When you can really drill down, you'll see girls that, will put off a persona of, complete total self-confidence, but she thinks one boob's bigger than the other and she has a belly and her ass is hanging down. All these things may be or not be true, but she believes it. And that self-doubt is the default for women. If it can be good or bad physically for themselves or mentally sometimes, they'll default to the negative. Am I pretty enough? Are my tits firm enough? Is my pussy tight enough? Am I slim enough? Never protect their ego. Tease, nag, induce doubt. She'll love you more for it. Again, when this happens, you're coming from a superior position. You don't have to beat girls up, but even a neg, just like in this, the best example, because there's different levels of nagging. It's creating enough self-doubt at the beginning of an interaction that she actually gives you a shot. It's kind of like, I like your shoes. My mom has a pair. It's not a direct insult. Negging is not insulting, but it is something that creates enough self-doubt that this girl can lower her bitch shield just long enough for you to get across and get in there and get a conversation going, because girls, they just have that bitch shield up all the time. And what negging does is it conveys to her on a subconscious level, you're not just another average frustrated chump talking to her. Because like Buddy and I have talked about before, girls are being stopped and guys are wasting their time all day, every day, trying to chat them up. But when you come across and you're coming across and you drop a negative and then you get in and you start a conversation, it changes up the dynamic. And there's a little bit of lag time. And I tell guys this, when you have charm, you have charisma, you have game, which is learned charisma. Women are so used to dealing with losers. There's so many out there that there's going to be a little bit of lag time when she starts realizing there's a dawn. It clicks that you're not the same guy that she's already talked to 10 times that day. That's the real deal. When you know this stuff and you come across and you have charisma, there's a little bit of lag time that will take a girl that's like been getting beat up all day. She's used to guys talking to her, trying to make eye contact, all this other bullshit, that it takes a second for her to realize what she's dealing with. And then they'll tend to warm up once you get engaged. And that's a real deal. But just know they're full of self-doubt. And negging works. And tomorrow I'll bring up, there's a couple of scientific studies that did this. They would open with a neg in the conversation, then they would interview the girls later, like how they felt about the guy that was speaking to them. And just these teeny tiny negative comments at the front end, she would report, and we're talking about same guys, different scripts as more attractive, just a little bit more attractive. Again, because it gives him a chance to get in and get that bitch shield down, that he's not just another average frustrated chump, and he's able to open a conversation. Again, and when you tease girls, it's fun. Girls just want to have fun. And you should be teasing girls, just like we were talking about yesterday, where they're in the shower and you turn on the cold water, or you leave the room and you turn the light off. I mean, there's so many things, or the classic, where she's reaching for the car door and you pull forward. Stupid shit that when I describe it, it sounds so childish and dumb, but they start laughing, giggling, whatever. And again, if you have a girl that's so uptight you can't tease her, well, that's your own fault. Your picker's bad. Some girls are just so uptight. And if you can, that's your thing, by all means, carry on. But life is very long. And at 10 and 12 and 15 years with a girl that has no sense of humor or levity and always takes herself seriously, it's very fatiguing. So just keep that in mind when you're choosing these girls out there. Try to find somebody with a little bit of a sense of humor. Everybody ends up going out with a boss babe at some point. You intentionally or unintentionally. Corporate lawyers, female executives, female professionals, doctors, attorneys, entrepreneurs. They've got 4 businesses. Some are MLMs, some are actually brick and mortar. And one thing that should be said is, Bunny and I have talked about this, and there's a couple of outliers that I've met in the last 30 years. But generally, women don't build and run businesses alone. They always have a male figure somewhere in the background. Their father, a brother, an uncle, a mentor, a former boss. There's someone, their husband or boyfriend, their boyfriend manager. There's always a guy somewhere driving this forward. And the reason is fundamental. Men have to. We get up in the morning and we have to perform. We have to earn money. We have to lead from the front. We have to make things happen or they don't get done. Women are very much more want to. And Bunny is really good at explaining this. There's no have to with women. There's want to. Do I want to go into work today? Do I want to make that phone call? Do I want to send this email? And the question is, how do I feel about it? And like right now, we've taken twice as much time just talking about this. Then if a guy had made the decision, I'm going to make that phone call, and he picks up the phone. How do I feel about making this call right now? So only if she has the impetus of a male figure behind her, generally will she build a business. I've known 2 outliers. Bunny's one. I've seen her build 3 or 4 businesses with no input from me or any male figure that I was aware of ever. I mean, she just did it. Her dad's an entrepreneur. So either through modeling or through absorption or just internal drive. And I bought a gym one time from a girl who, with no backing, had built this gym up. I mean, there was no male figure whatsoever. And she had like 3 or 4 major business, chiropractic office, a couple of gyms, like a medical suite. And none of this, there's no men, no family, just literally just self-driven. Truly, if you describe it, it's absolutely insane. It'd be hard for even a man to do it. But again, there are outliers, but they tend to prove the rule that girls don't build businesses by themselves. So you have to know that there's always a guy in the background. Boss babe, how do you deal with it when you're dating them? Never bring up her work or career, especially on first or second date. They're going to want to talk about it. They're going to want to what do you do for a living? You tell her you're an MMA fighter. It doesn't matter. Tell her you just got out of jail that morning and you're unemployed, or you work the 3 to 11 at the gas station. It doesn't matter. Just tell her some off the wall thing because she wants to do a dick measuring contest, and you're not interested. You're there to have a good time. So never talk about our work or career. Girls will go off on a tangent, and then they're talking about their job that they hate, and then it's not good. It's like asking about somebody's divorce. You want to touch on it and then move on to something more interesting. But with Boss Babes, it's their identity when they're at work. But again, girls are much better about leaving work at work. Like if a girl's had a baby and she's healthy, you ask, what do you do for a living? They'll be like, oh, I'm a mom first. I'm a mom and then I'm an attorney, or I'm a mom and then I work here. So their identity is usually wrapped up in their relationship. I'm somebody's girlfriend. I'm somebody's wife. I'm a mom. And it's not that they are a pilot or that they, work for the city or anything like that. But it's best, don't ask. Treat her like a teenage girl. Treat her like she's about 17 or 18. Tease her. Keep it lighthearted. Make fun of her a little bit. Not too much. You have to calibrate it. Tease her. Have fun. Tell her interesting stories, funny stories, stories that display you as somewhat high value. Ask her about herself. And again, and I know this, a lot of these, you guys that are like really young, this is not on your radar, but if you're going out with girls with kids and you get stuck and you're like, God, I want to know things. What are we going to talk about? Anytime you need to buy time, ask a girl about her kids. And it will buy you time to find something more interesting to engage her, or feel like, if something's going on and you need to be able to mindlessly think for a little while, ask her about her kids, because women that are healthy are more enthusiastic about their children than anything else. And so that gives you time to think, get something going, or, make a quick text even, because they'll start talking. They just like blank out. But just know that Boss Babes want to submit to a high value male. The harder a girl works in the office, the less she wants to think about it when she gets home. And so if you can give girls like that break, like she goes, oh, fuck, I forgot about that meeting tomorrow morning, because they're having fun, then you're going to be the guy that she's texting, at 11 o'clock at night or 1 a.m. on a Saturday, or when she goes out with her friends and then she wants to swing by on her way home, because you're the fun guy. And Boss Babes need a fun guy in their life more than anything else. So just know that dealing with a Boss Babe, the number one thing you can do is not talk about work, not talk about career. If she does bring it up, and then change the subject and then move on. Again, they'll pick up the hint. And then after a while, they're like, you ask most girls or wives what their husband does, and they've been married for a few, I don't know. I have a single idea. I don't have a clue. He leaves in the morning. He comes home at night and there's money in the bank account. That's all I know. That's it. Or he works for his dad. That's the whole context. Women are not that interested in enterprise. They will be if necessary, but generally it's driven by a man that's behind the scenes. And when they are out with you, they don't want to talk about it. There's 1,000 other things that are far more interesting, including just hanging out with you. Stan the Milkman says the lazy eye line works still over in Australia. That's good. They always check or think that they have one, like they missed it for decades. That's funny. Lazy eye, because this is the thing. We always say no compliments, especially like with Boss Babes. You don't be impressed and go, oh, really? Did you? No reason for that, because it's nothing they're doing is that impressive. Probably because a lot of stuff gets handed to people. But if you don't compliment a girl, and I recommend no compliments, especially on basic appearance, until you're having sex with her for a few weeks, no compliments. It's just better. It's just safer. And then it has a little bit more impact and a little bit more weight. But they're going to, at some point, I almost saw this every time on a first date. They'd say, well, so, you're in there for over an hour. They'd be like, so what do you think? Because they're so used to guys falling over themselves on her appearance, or, just that they're like glad to be out with a girl, or the girl gave him a shot. It's just not a good dynamic. And they go, well, so, what do you think? Meaning, like, what do you think of the way you always go, well, you're cute and I like your lazy eye. And girls, I mean, like Stan says, they don't have a lazy eye, but it's funny. And they're, what the fuck? So just have a couple of lines. And I'm probably going to bring a book out about lines within the next 6 months that you can always go to, because girls you're going to have the same conversation with. If you go out with 500 girls, you're going to have the same conversation about 480 times, almost to a T. You will find when you're going out with a lot of women, it's kind of like working with the general public. You start seeing commonalities. You start hearing the same phrases over and over again. Like, every girl that's ever been divorced, my husband was a narcissist. You can take it to the bank. You can bet on it. You can actually bet with your buddies on a first date. If she's divorced, at some point she'll say her husband is a narcissist, and you can win that bet every time. So it's things like that you learn through experience. But the lazy eye line works, and it's a line, and you can use it in a few places, and it works enough to create a little bit of self-doubt. Like he says, they've lived their whole life knowing they don't have a lazy eye, but they'll check. So, you're dealing with girls. It's pretty fluid. We are out of time. Stan, I appreciate the questions and the interaction. If you guys want to ask questions, I'm at 7 a.m. on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time right here on Wednesdays. And I will take your questions. We'll go over a couple of tweets, do something interesting. But I know your time is valuable, and I appreciate you joining me. And if you have any questions, you can still ask in the comments or comment below the video, or I will see it below on Twitter if that's where you're commenting, and I can respond there. But I wish you guys the best day and have a good one.